Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Boss Teacher Live with me, Julia, the Boss Teacher, your life transformation coach. Today, we're going to be talking about how to cure and curb and manage one of your nastiest habits. So, stick around for that. Have you ever had a habit that you just couldn't break? I'm going to share one strategy, one amazingly simple strategy that I used to get over my habit. I'm going to share with you exactly where I got that strategy from and how you can apply that to your own life as well. No, hi, welcome. People are joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. At Hello Boss Teacher. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday at this time to share principles with you of how you can really just transform your life and live the best version of your life possible. Like everything that you have inside of your head, it is absolutely possible. And I am living proof of that. So, what we're going to be talking about today is how to cure that habit, how to cure that dirty, that nasty habit. And so, as always, I like to share my story because interestingly, I have a story for every darn thing on this planet. I don't know. My life has been so interesting. I've had so many horrifying experiences. But what I've learned is that each and every one of those experiences has taught me a different life lesson. And those are the life lessons that have been proven over time. They're in books, they're in sermons, they're in teachings, and I am sharing a little bit of that with you. So here is my story, right? Okay. I have always, for as far back as I can remember, have been a fingernail biter. I've always bit my fingernails. My son has, I don't know if he inherited it from me, but yeah. So I've bitten my fingernails for as long as I possibly can remember. I can't remember a time ever in my life when I was never biting my fingernails. I would bite my fingernails to the point where they would bleed. Like, you know, the sides of the fingernails coming off, and my fingernail is way, way, way down here, like half of my where my nail should be, and it would hurt a lot. It would hurt to write, and it would hurt to do a lot of things with my hands. But for some reason, I could not stop biting my fingernails. This habit followed me all the way through adulthood to this very day. Although I am managing it a lot better, I still bite my fingernails. I have one here as living proof. Let me put it in the camera so y'all can see. Can you see it? No, no, the lighting is terrible. So this went last week, but the others are fine. And for that reason, I had a hard time growing my fingernails beyond the tips of my fingers because immediately as it passes that section, I would bite it back down. Or because my fingernails were growing out so unhealthy, they would automatically tear by themselves. So when I'm not biting them, they just self destruct, literally self destruct. I don't know if any one of you has that problem, fingernail biting. You are not alone. And even as an adult, I remember the last job I had as a teacher, my principal, the man who owned and managed, founded and managed the school, he had a worse habit than me. His fingernails, when I looked at them, they looked worse than mine. I kid you not. And they were just white all around. They were very chapped. This is a decent, very educated young man. He had a very decent job. He was well known in his circles. He had a lot of influence. He's just at the top of his game, and he has that problem. And when I saw that, I'm like, I didn't feel so bad. I kid you not, I didn't feel so bad when I saw him, when I saw his fingernails. But this practice followed me all the way through to adulthood. And no matter what I tried, I could not stop biting my fingernails. I was, I've always used, what do you call these things? I don't even do it that often. I completely forget what name. Nails, like artificial nails. You get your nails done. Yeah. whenever I don't feel like I want to look at it anymore, and that's very rare, I usually get my nails done. The first time I got my nails done was when I was 24, and that was for my wedding. I think I may have been able to count on my hand the amount of times that I've ever gotten my nails done in all my life. Because going to the nail salon for me was so embarrassing. I didn't want anybody to look at my fingernails and think any kind of way about me. And so I stayed away from the salon. I went to the salon. It was just for body work, massage, whatever. Never my nails. I rarely got a manicure and pedicure because in my head, these people are looking at me and judging me because of my nails. And it just didn't happen. And sometime, maybe about 2 years ago, I was still struggling with this. I knew what was happening. I knew what triggered it. And that's something I want to share with you. Because in my adult years, in my efforts to manage my fingernail biting, I realized that I had triggers. There were certain points in my life where I turned to my fingernails. So here are a couple of my triggers. One, if I'm watching a really darn good movie and I'm into the movie, by the time that 90 minute, that 2 hour is done, my fingernail, all of my nails are gone, and I don't remember biting them ever. And so when I realized that trigger, I started to become very conscious of what I was doing with my hands when I was watching a movie. And so for you, I want you to think about what triggers those bad habits for you. What are the triggers? And if you're not so sure of it right now, watch yourself over the next week, 2 weeks to a month, and journal. Try and see if you can identify what is the common factor. I love using this term, common factor. What is the thing that typically triggers your bad habit? So when this is happening, you catch yourself and say, oh, what just happened 10 seconds ago? Why I'm doing this right now? And so that's what I had to do. I had to figure out what were the triggers. So I realized that a really good movie was a trigger for me. Number one. Number two, when I am afraid, when I'm terrified of something, I ended up biting my fingernails. And the third one for me, and this is the one that would happen more often than any other, was when I get very anxious. To this day, I'm trying to manage my anxiety. So anxiety was an issue for me because I grew up around a culture that I was always on the edge. And so I get very anxious more often than the other two triggers. And so anxiety was the major trigger for the nail biting for me. And when I realized that those three things were my triggers, I started to watch myself in terms of how I respond to an anxious situation, or when I'm in a fear-based situation, or when I'm watching a really good movie, right? I mean, you think a movie would be fun and awesome, but here I am, killing myself, biting my fingernails, hurting myself, I should say, right? So when I realized those triggers, I started to use those points to manage those triggers. But here's the thing, I was still unconsciously biting my fingernails at times because I was not able to identify the triggers all the time. Like sometimes I realize it's happening, and sometimes I realize when I'm on the last fingernail, I realize, oh shucks, I just did 9 of them and didn't even realize. It just happened so naturally that I would go through 9 fingers and didn't realize until I'm on the pinky. So I was still having that issue. A few years ago, I went to the salon. I found a very nice salon. I told the young lady my issue because she was different. It was just a different kind of salon, and I liked her. I told her my issue, and she said, "Julia, don't worry yourself." It was a no judgment zone, and she sought me out. And my fingers started to grow because of the application that she used. It helped my fingernails to grow, and I was so excited. I've seen my fingernails long for the very first time in years, right? And I went through the process. My fingernails grew back. And then maybe about 2 months after I've had the best fingernails of my life, I fell into a mode and anxiety took over again. And they went. And I remember reading this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, right? James Clear. And one of the principles of the book, and this is the principle that changed my life. It's something so simple. It's so simple. But this is the principle that changed my life. The suggestion is that you are to find a habit, whatever the habit is, every single time you feel like performing that habit, you're going to replace it with a different habit. And this different habit has to be a better habit. So instead of me saying to myself, Julia, stop biting your fingernails. You know you're not supposed to be doing this. Slapping myself on the hand, hiding my hand behind my back, and wrapping up in a towel or a sheet or something in the moment, or hiding it in my pockets. That's what I normally do. Instead of trying to do all of those things, replace the bad habit with a good habit. So every single time you feel like biting your fingernails, you need to replace it with something that is easy, something that is attractive, something that is satisfying. And what's the last one? Hold on, let me look it up. There are 4 of them: easy, attractive, satisfying, and oh, it's 3. I thought it was 4. Okay, so something easy, satisfying, and attractive. So when I thought about that, I thought to myself, what could I do that is easy, satisfying, and attractive to me? And attractive doesn't necessarily mean physically attractive, like your physical features. It's attractive, something that is attracts you to it. And I thought about it for a while, and I realized that it had to be something that I could do at any given point, anywhere, under any circumstance. The first thing I thought about was drinking water. And then I said, well, because I love water. That's just my thing, right? So find your thing. The first thing I thought about was drinking water. And I'm saying, okay, but water might not always be available. I can't always run to the kitchen and grab a cup. I might not always have a bottle on me, even though I try. It might not be as easily accessible. And so I did the water thing, but it didn't work every time because sometimes I forget, yeah, and sometimes water was not available. And so I thought to myself, what else could I do? Every time you think of biting your nails, Julia, what can you do? And I did a brainstorm, and I realized that I had a knack for deep breathing. I enjoy deep breathing. I do it many times throughout the day. It's one of the things I do to put me to sleep in the evenings as well. So I realized if I practice a deep breathing exercise, deep breathing for me is super, super, super easy. It is satisfying because I feel the difference in my body. And it's something that I find attractive. I like it, right? So whenever I am in a situation, it doesn't matter where I am. It could be in a board meeting, in an office, in an interview. If I can close my eyes, I close my eyes because that is more effective. If I can't, I just sit still for a couple seconds with the knowing that, Julia, you really want to bite your fingernails. The urge is there. I really want to bite it. I really want to bite it. But instead, just... And I do that for a couple rounds, and it releases the tension and the urge that is around biting my fingernails. And there's a what do you call it? There's a certain way, a process to do the deep breathing properly for it to be effective. Let me just give you a number. It's 4 in, 4 out. So whatever number you breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, you breathe out just the same. Another effective one is if you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4 and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always making your exhale longer than your inhale. That one is the one that puts me to sleep every single night. And so I have used that system. So whenever the urge comes upon me to bite my fingernails, I deep breathe. And that has helped me significantly. Can you see my nails, guys? Like I said, I'm still struggling to grow them beyond the tips of my fingers, but I'm not biting them right now, except for this one. Sorry, this one that went last week. So for me, that worked. What can you apply in your life to change that bad habit? So I want you to think deeply about something that is easy, something that is attractive to you, and something that is super satisfying. And see if you, every single time that you get the urge to perform that negative habit, that you will replace it with that activity instead. So over time, it will become a part of your life. It literally becomes a part of your routine, and you get better and better at curbing and getting rid of your bad habits. So I want to know in the comments. Here's the question I want to ask. What bad habit are you deliberately and consciously going to try to cure as of today, based on the information that I shared with you? And if you want to go and read the book, by all means, go and read it. There are tons of other strategies in there that you can use, but that is the one that specifically helped me. So, what habit, negative, bad, nasty, ugly, dirty habit that you have, that you are going to consciously decide that this is going to change after today? And you might want to use the principle that I shared and go ahead and research others on your own if that doesn't help. All right, so that's what I'm sharing with you today. Do you have any questions, any comments? Let me see. I see some stuff coming up in the chat. Facebook is very quiet today. Oh, you've read the book? Yes, it's amazing. It's long. It's very long. I literally wrote that book on a journey around Jamaica. It was so long. It's long, but it has some very potent principles. It has the underlying psychology around why we have had bad habits, how we can develop new habits, and the strategies to accompany them. Yeah. So that's being, you're saying you I'm sorry, this one is funny. You want to get rid of being nasty. Is it that, wait, let me understand. You want to get rid of that habit, or you want to adopt that habit? Being nasty nice. Is that you're just trying to say you're too nice, or you want to be too nice? I'm gonna assume that you're trying to get rid of that. You're way too nice. So for something like that, in the moment, when you realize that you're gonna be extra nice to somebody that you really don't want to give all that energy, you can think of something. What can I do instead? Like, can you always have on your hand a list of resources, a list of people that you can recommend? So instead of um, oh, you're nice in a nasty way. Oh my god. You know, sometimes people like that, I find hilarious. I find humor in people like that. Like when they say certain comments, and then other people, especially when the recipient of the what's the word? The recipient of the dis, we call it in Jamaica, disrespect or something like that. Yeah, can't remember right now. But when the recipient doesn't even realize they're being dissed, that's funny. Or nice in a nasty way. Okay. So you're gonna have to think of something that you can use to replace that. But like I said, that's just one of the principles from the book. Literally, that's just one. That's the one that helped me the most. So you can go ahead and read it and figure out for yourself if the others can also be applicable to you. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me on this live. I will see you next Tuesday, right? So we're on Tuesday and Thursday. Instagram is over here, YouTube and Facebook is over here, and we're going to talk about another topic that could possibly change your life for the better, to help you to elevate, to live your best life, and to be the best version of you. Walking in prosperity, walking in abundance, walking in complete peace and fulfillment. I'll see you guys next time. Toodles.